Hey, yo, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence, reign back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this video is going to be about what I call hitting below the belt in race versus racism. The difference between hitting below the belt and racism. Okay. Now I'm going to apply this dynamic of hitting below the belt as a dynamic of war, which meaning it pertains to I want to make it applicable to one that is in war so that you understand. I mean, I'm specifying myself in the situation concerning the topic and therefore being me in war. That's why I want to specify it concerning war because uh, first of all, I can talk about it intelligently. I can talk about it from personal experience, and I can clarify my position. So hidden below the belt, where this term comes from is a boxing term where in boxing a person hit below the belt, below the waistline. That's illegal in boxing. Uh, that's where I'm getting the term from. It's illegal. It's a low blow. Some people say low blow, hit below the belt. More commonly, people say low blow. That's a low blow. That where that comes from is boxing, where someone hits below the waistline, which is illegal in boxing. How I apply it is as far as ethnicities. When you may be dealing with your own ethnicity, this is particularly here in America as well. I should explain that. Um, it may be a low blow or hitting below the belt uh, in your which concerning your own ethnicity or outside your ethnicity or many ethnicities, where you're in a war and all there's no holes barred. There's no holes that are illegal necessarily. And you're in you're in an all out war. And in your words to yourself or in your mind or two people, you hit below the belt. You are in war. You don't really you being in war, it speaks for itself. And in war, you can ask any soldier, you're going to give the worst insults possible to the enemy. Whoever presents themselves as the enemy and they know they're the enemy, they're going to get the worst insults whether they like it or not. This to me is not racism. This is what I call hitting below the belt. You're in war, you're going to throw the worst insults, you're going to say the worst things to hurt the enemy, to crush the enemy. Your anger, your frustration, your aggravation, your irritation with the enemy, you're going to say the worst things to the enemy. Now, a novice in war will say that's racism because you haven't been in war and understood what it brings out of you. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's a perfect gesture. Obviously not. Hitting below the belt wouldn't be a positive thing necessarily. Um, but it's understanding the difference between that and racism, right? Now, I done had my own ethnicity hit me below the belt. I done had black people hit me below the belt by calling my mom a nigger. So before we go any further, that's what I want you to know. Someone from the African American community Whether I got along with them after or not is irrelevant. The fact is, a person from the African American community that's dominantly more than anything African called my mom a nigger. That's hitting below the belt. That's what I call hitting below the belt. Now, was he a racist? I don't know. But that's not something I've ever done in my life. I've never called someone's black mom, somebody mom out of their name that's black like that. I've never done that. So see, already I could show you where it has happened to me. I've had another black man, same ethnicity, tell me to go back to my own home country because he could see that I wasn't just African. You know, for people that don't know, listeners that don't know, I'm African, South American, Asian, and Indian, and English, South Italian, and Greek. Yep. So, um, the second guy told me to go back to my own home country. Now that's below the belt for an African man to tell him this not being his home country, for him to say, go back to your own home country. That's below the belt. Now, is that a result of the ongoing war? That's going on. I don't know. I can't answer that in that situation with those particular individuals. I don't know if they were involved in a war against me and out of their frustrations, this is what they said. I can't call that one. All I know is it's a low blow. It's below the belt. You know what I'm saying? Something that I've experienced. Me personally, I have never disrespected anybody like that. You know what I'm saying? I have my personal feelings, and I try to for the most part, keep racial gestures out of it as much as I can, as far as low blows, and I'll just man up and keep race out of it and say what I gotta say. But I think it's necessary to share with you my experiences so that you can see the difference between low blows, hitting below the belt, and in racism, there's a difference. Now, racism to me, let's define that. Racism is at face value. You just don't like individuals. Just from face value. Face value. They ain't done nothing, they ain't said nothing to you. When someone does something to you, you are free from being accused of racism. That's a 7-hour. If somebody does something to you and you have a problem with that, and even if you throw low blows, you're not a racist. If you was a racist, before they got to the point of offending you, you would have already had a problem with them. That's a 7-hour. You would have already had a problem with them. Now, if somebody angers you and you throw a low blow, take responsibility for it, but do not let someone, I'm be 100, that's non-white, that's black, or any other race, act like you're a racist. Well, you just got caught up in a real adult fight. And sometimes in an adult fight or in an adult confrontation, people are going to say the worst things to insult you. I don't consider that racism. You see the difference? Everybody claims to be a big boy and everybody claims to be a big girl. So you're supposed to have a big boy fight. So if your enemy happens to be someone from a different ethnicity, right? You don't think they're gonna throw you a low blow against your race? That's not racism though. Yeah, this is where we have more complicated issues. This is where we have this is sophistication versus simplicity of thought. Where you think everything is racism. You're simplistic in your mind. Okay? You got in a fight, you got in an argument, you got in a confrontation with people from different ethnicities, they threw low blows. Ouch. Take it on the chin. Now, if you caused it on yourself, I haven't been in the shoes of people that do that. I'm just being honest. I don't know what to say. But if I would say if I caused it on myself though, if somebody threw me a low blow and I'm already in their lane, I'm already playing with them, and you know you playing with them. You know you playing with them. And they throw you a low blow, you gotta take it, bro. Listen, you already violating. You already violating that person. Whether you gang stalking, playing hood politics, watching people in the neighborhood, you watching individuals in the neighborhood, you already violating, in my opinion. That's how I see it. Who said you had the right to do that? So if you already violating, man, how I feel is low blows come with that. Low blows come with that. Let me give you a perfect example. And I'm going to break this example down into different scenarios using different ethnicities. So let's just say you're a POW, right? You're in the military. You've been captured by an enemy, and you're a POW literally in a POW camp. Now they know you have information from your army, which is the enemy army. So they start torturing you, literally, physically speaking, even psychologically. So they got you tied up, got you hog tied, sitting in the chair, right? Well, they got you tied behind the back, your arms behind your back, you're shackled and everything. So they're torturing you. Now you could be the toughest guy around. If that person is another ethnicity outside of your ethnicity, you're probably going to throw low blows. Even if it's an African and an African, right? You're going to throw low blows. You're going to call them everything in the book as a result of the war and what it brings. So if it's a black guy, he's going to throw all the worst insults to this other black guy. You this, you're that. When I get out of this, you that. He going to look at you and he going to look at you for who you are. Hear this part. He going to look at you for who you are and throw the worst insults. That's a 7 out. And you can say, well, that guy's a racist. Now let's look at it. Let's look at his position and where he is. He's a POW in a POW camp, and you got him bound, and you're torturing him. You think he gonna censor and have any he gonna hold back on anything he say to you? No, let's be human for a minute. You got all the perfect answers, but let's be human for a minute. You think he gonna have? You think he gonna care about anything he has to say to you at all? And would you classify him as a racist? I would not. I would say he was weak. I would say in war, you throw mud, you hit below the belt. It gets dirty, it gets nasty. You say the worst insults, even to your own ethnicity. Right? Now, if you're not in that type of situation of a war, and you're hitting below the belt constantly for no reason, now I would say, okay, now maybe this person is a racist. But if you know, like we know, what you're doing and the surveillance and everything you're responsible for, how can you really say that person is a racist if they hit below the belt and say something about you that you might feel is racist? Now, that's not racist. That's that person throwing mud in war with you, and you know it, and you know what you're doing, and you cause that on yourself. That's all it is. And it's a difference between hitting below the belt. I'm not justifying it. I'm just clarifying the difference between hitting below the belt in any situation and racism. Human nature throwing the worst insults possible versus racism. Throwing the most hateful gestures in the middle of war, slinging the most dirty, the most biggest amounts of mud possible versus racism. Because I don't give the enemies the liberty of thinking that I have stooped to racism. Nah, I'm not going to let you do that because you already looking for something. Obviously, you already in my lane. You looking for something. And that's not what it is. I feel like if you in somebody's lane, you deserve what you get. If you have someone under surveillance, if you are playing around somebody, I'm not saying it's right, but hitting below the belt wouldn't be racism to me. If they called you something out of your name, they call you a racial gesture, a racial slur, even that to me is not racism. You put yourself in a position where a person hates you because of what you're doing, and they took advantage of your ethnicity to insult you. Now, look, I'm not saying it's right, but it's the difference between that and racism. Racism is you ain't do nothing to me and I hate you. But if you are doing things to people, they may hit you below the belt. That's the real world. That's not racism. That's the real world. And if you don't know the difference, you'll be sitting up, the innocent people, you sit back, well, yeah, he did. You just as simple, because you're listening to the enemies. They're waiting to get just a thread of something on a person. That's all they're looking for, anything they can get. And I'm here to clarify the difference to the idiots that think they got something. I'm going to clarify the difference between racism and hitting below the belt. Low blows. Okay? So, second scenario, we did the black scenario, POW. Now, a Mexican, let's do a POW situation where it's a black guy and he's in the Mexican army. He's a POW of Mexicans, right? Now they got him tied up. They're punching them, they're slapping them, they're kicking them. He gonna say every racial slur in the book. Right or wrong. Oh, so he ain't. If somebody got you tied up, you're sitting in the chair, they're playing games with you, playing around you, using psychological games, doing all kind of foolish things, right? You ain't gonna say, your human side, it's not understandable if your human side lash out and hit below the belt. You're going to take, you're not going to take the obvious difference between you and them, which is ethnicity, and use it against them. Now you a POW. You ain't gonna do that. You don't think it's understandable if you was watching a movie. Let's just say this was a movie. Let's take these scenarios to a movie. And you seen a black military man locked up by Mexican army. He's a POW. It wouldn't be reasonable in the movie if he's saying every racial slur while they're torturing him, while they're doing things to him. It wouldn't be reasonable to you. It would be reasonable to me. I wouldn't even take it as he's a racist. Think about it. You've seen movies like that. And they've said the worst insults that they possibly could. It's a difference between that and racism. Same thing. A white guy. Let's say you in a POW as you're in Europe and you're still a black dude. No, let's say you here in America. And somehow maybe let's just consider they considered you a domestic terrorist. Let's say that. So you're like basically locked up. And so you're being psychologically tortured, this, that, and the third. So white people walk in and they're testing you and everything. You may say the worst racial slurs to those white people. As a black guy, you're going to say everything to possibly hurt them. You're not going to hold back. I'm saying this is human nature. Right? And now, is that racism, or is that low blows hitting below the belt in war, saying whatever, saying the worst insults and things you could say as a result of being in the middle of a war? That's what it is. And it's a big difference between that and racism. And I made this video so we can stop these stupid people all around the world, all around the country, all around the city of New York, all around spreading hearsay, saying all these things. Let me tell you something, man. Much as I've been through, if I was racist, you would have been knew that. But when you play in my lane, you're going to get the worst insults, and that's human nature. Now, you would think you sophisticated Americans would know the difference between that and racism. Well, let's be 100. If you're a human and you have an enemy that has something different from you, I don't even care if it's weight size. What if they're a skinny person? Whatever the appearance of the person is, you're going to take advantage of it. Right or wrong. If it's a skinny person, if it's a person that's super heavy, obese, you're going to take advantage of everything possible to insult that person. This isn't discrimination against skinny people. This discrimination against obese people. It's not discrimination. It's not that. So you can't say, oh, well, that person said all this stuff, said this person is so skinny or so obese. So do you think that this person hates skinny people or hate obese people? Or was that person throwing low blows, trying to insult that person as much as they possibly could? Which one you think it was? Was this person shaming, weight shaming, or was this person hitting below the belt? Which one? That's what I'm saying. And so you know the difference. This ain't no what they call weight shamers. Is that the word? I think it's weight shamers. That's the term. Shamer, weight shamers, fat shamers, weight shamers or something. Or people that, yeah, because it could go to skinny person too. So is it a skinny person? Are they weight shaming as far as a skinny person or an obese person? Or is it just discrimination against skinny or obese people? You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. You're hitting below the belt. You're hitting below the belt, but you're not discriminating against obese people. You're not discriminating against skinny people. That's not what it is. You're taking advantage of anything possible Just like a rap battle. At rap battle, whoever is in front of you, you're taking advantage of everything. Even their race. If you are in a rap battle with somebody that's Mexican, you ain't gonna take advantage of that. That's a 7 hour. If you're in a rap battle with a Mexican, you ain't gonna take advantage of the fact that he's Mexican. Okay then. Well, you're a better rapper MC than me. You're a better man than me. Cause if I'm in a rap battle with you, I'm taking advantage of everything. Hey, if you ain't got tough skin, you ain't gonna make it. If you in a rap battle with me, I'm taking advantage of everything. And keyword, rap, key term, rap battle. Another form of battle where it's not about race. You're in the middle of a battle. You think you're going? You think he ain't gonna take? You think that the black dude ain't gonna take advantage of the fact that you're a rapper? You're a Mexican rapper. He gonna take advantage of that already. Say something like, "What you doing rapping, buddy?" He's already on you about it. He's already on you about it. What you doing rapping, buddy? You should be rapping some burritos, shouldn't you? See, and that's just off the top of my head. Now, am I being racist or am I taking advantage of his ethnicity and his food and everything like that? Now, you see what I'm saying? Now, let's be 100. Is that racism? No, you're taking advantage of everything you can. It's the same thing when you have situations where ethnicities clash and people clash, even our own ethnicities clash. I've seen movies where it's projected where Mexicans call each other racial slurs. I've seen it. The Echo Park movie, which was one of my favorite movies from back in the day. The Echo Park movie. That was one of my first Mexican movies I liked. And the girl calls the other girl a wetback. These are two Mexicans. She's calling her one. So what is that? What is that about? Oh, is she actually racist? No, that's ridiculous. But this is in the movie. It's written in the movie. It's the actors are putting it in there. Why are they putting it in there? What are they trying to get across? I would say that, just like I said in best words, they're hitting below the belt. They're using everything they can. You think every black person that call each other nigga, they mean it in a good way? Sometimes they don't mean it in a good way. Sometimes it means the hateful, racist word. When a black person calls another black person a nigga, sometimes it is not, for white people that don't know any better, it's not the hip hop word, right? It's the racist one. Okay? So when you got a lot of white American injustices and you hear, black people saying this or the third, that or the third about white people, can you really say it's racism or is it hidden below the belt because of the injustice? When it's a cop that kills a black person and the cops get all the racial slurs, cracker, all of this, right? Do you think it's a result of the war, the ongoing war of racism, real racism, or are they hidden below the belt? Which one is it? I think they're hidden below the belt. I think that it was because of something they did, and it was in something the white individual did, and it caused a conflict, or it just felt like a link to the overall conflict between black and white, this ongoing war, and they hit below the belt. Because see, I gotta do this and say this because it's people that take advantage of things. They're in your community. They're not perfect themselves. They're nowhere near perfect themselves. But they feel that they have, I don't know about why, I don't know how, but they feel like they have some superiority over you and I to where they can look you up and down and try to figure out what's wrong with you. And then when they got something, they think they think they've won in some way. Listen, I don't hide anything. I'm a human being before anything. I'm a human being. First, that's me. That's what I am. Right? And if you play with me, hey, I might hit below the belt. I might hit real nasty below the belt. Real nasty. But at the end of the day, I am a true man of God. I am a true prophet of God, but I am also human. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and act like I don't hit below the belt. I have hit below the belt before in my life. I hit below the belt. And when I hit below the belt, I hit hard. You're going to feel it. And listen, but half of the times, I'm going to be honest, this ain't justification. This ain't justification, but half of the times though, they was in my lane. And I let them know that part too. How you in my lane expecting great treatment? You deserve it. You in my lane. You deserve it. You playing with me. And just like I said, if you are a POW, you're going to use whatever is in front of you. You're going to use everything that's in front of you with whoever the officers are. It doesn't matter if it's not particularly the ethnicity that is the problem. Whatever ethnicity is presented to you is going to get hit below the belt from the opposing force. The officer, whatever the officer is, basically, whatever he is going to get insulted. You got to, besides your ethnicity, if you got a big head, you got big ears, all of that's getting assaulted, buddy. All of that is getting insulted. Whatever they can figure to insult you with is going to happen. This is the real adult world we live in. So we can grow people up to it. Okay? That's what the reason for this video is. So we can grow people up to the real world. Right? So you can stop walking around like a motherless child or a fatherless child, walking around like somebody has wronged you every single time you have a confrontation with somebody. Every single time you're out of pocket in the first place, and then you don't like what you get. Well, you shouldn't have been out of pocket. Nobody asked you to be there. Hey, maybe that'll make you a better person. It ain't no different than fighting people. It proves that in all actuality, words hurt worse than an actual fight. Look how people respond. It hurts worse, don't it? Well, consider yourself and consider what you're doing. Even though I'm not hurt by it, look at your actions. Actions can hurt people too. You're insinuating things, you're around, playing around somebody. That can hurt people too. And they can hit below the belt as a result of that. That's a 7. Yeah. So I'm trying to free people from the whiners that act like motherless childs and fatherless childs, right? And they go out into the world and then they they get hit below the belt, and then they want to cry to the authorities, and they want to cry to the OGs of the neighborhood. They want to cry to their uncles and aunties. They want to cry to people. You shouldn't have been playing around somebody. That's how I take it. I don't care what you do. I don't care who you with. I don't care what organization you with. If you got hit below the belt, you listen. You shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's how I see it. You got what you bargained for. You got what you asked for. You got what you deserve. Some would say, well, you listen. They would consider you're one of the worst type of people already from the things that you're doing. So any insult applies. If you are doing evil things and bad things to other people, wouldn't you agree that any insult applies? I'm just saying by human standard, just being human, not the perfect answers, I'm talking about the human answer. If you have an individual or individuals, plural, that are gang stalking, taking breadcrumbs, taking crumbs to the gang stalk and to play games with people, you're part of a secret society, but first thing people see is your ethnicity. That's what you got to remember. That's why I explained to you in other videos, ethnicity is more powerful than organization. The first thing people see is not that you're in a group. The first thing they see is your race. It's just how it is. And you don't think that if you are gang stalking and doing things and people see your ethnicity first, you don't deserve the worst insults are not applicable to you? Well, you just so happen to be Illuminati, but you also just happen to be Mexican, which your enemy is going to take advantage of. That's a 7th hour. If your enemy is going to take advantage of that, buddy, why you saying, well, I'm a part, you trying to be simple about it. But it's more complex than that, ain't it? Yeah, you trying to be simple about it. Well, I'm a part of the Illuminati. It shouldn't be about race. Well, listen, bro, your enemy is going to take advantage of everything you are. Wouldn't you? So I'm just hold back on these other things. But you're playing war games and you're playing psychological games. You're gang stalking. You're doing all these evil things, but we supposed to hold back on you. That's what I'm trying to show you, how soft people really are. Yeah, you can't hurt me with words anymore. I've been through it. As I told you, you can't hurt me with words. You get all out of character. Let me at him. Let me at him. Bring him out. You don't want to see me come outside. Come on, man. You listen, man. This neighborhood ain't, listen, you got a 24/7 deli right down the block. You got surveillance and everybody around here, man. You listen, man, you ain't trying to, listen, you don't want no smoke, man. That's fool. You lying. It's too much surveillance around here. You don't want no real smoke. You're taking advantage of the fact that it probably is surveillance around here. I think like a criminal. When it comes to conflict of this nature, man, come on. You don't want, listen. It's surveillance everywhere and all over this place. I know you don't want no real smoke. And you all out of character when somebody says something, but you all out of pocket at the same time. Imagine that. All out of pocket, but you worried about what somebody's saying to you. I've never been in that situation. Because if I was, and I was out of pocket, I would have to take everything that came with it. I don't care what group I'm a part of. I don't care if I was, whatever I was, a Crip, a Blood, a Freemason, an Illuminati, I don't care what I was a part of. If I am out of pocket, I got to take everything that come with it. That shows the difference between men and boys and girls and women. You don't see me bent out of shape about what people be saying about me, do you? I done weathered everything they said. Have I not? Have I not? I've weathered everything they've said, bro. And you think you're more of a man than me. Okay, in your dreams, when you lay yourself down to sleep, that's when you're more of a man than me. When you lay yourself down to sleep, that's the only time you're more of a man than me. In your dreams, you can't even take insults you halfway deserve. And like I said, you don't think you deserve the worst insults when you know you out of pocket. You don't think that applies to you. You don't think the worst insults possible applies to you when you're gang stalking and doing all kind of things that you're doing. So guess what that means? If it's true, and it is true, then that means that everything about you is going to be insulted. And that goes for black people, that goes for white people, that goes for whoever else. If you're out here playing games and game stalking and putting your face in people's face and you think nothing is going to be said to you, you're living in a dream world. The worst insults are going to come to you. Grow up. Stop running out here acting like it's a case of racism when there's real cases of racism out here. That's a 7 owl. There's real cases of racism out here, and you hitting below the belt yourself, playing games yourself, and expecting somebody to sit and play games with you. Nah, it don't work like that in the real world. You've insulted people expecting not to be insulted yourself. Oh, okay. I mean, listen. If you step into the ring playing with people, then why you run into your corner talking about he said this, he said that. See, you're not built for it. You're not built for what we call war. War doesn't care. War give you the worst insult ever. You go to real war and you're around enemy soldiers, they're going to give you, if you're a POW, let's talk about the other side of the POW. Let's talk about not the guy that's being tortured. Let's talk about the enemy soldiers that have you locked up in the POW. They gonna give you the worst insults possible. If you are locked up among, let's just say you're a Mexican and you're locked up in the African POW, you're African POW camp. They got you. They gonna call you wetback so many times. You gonna think that's your middle name. Now, is it racism? Or do you happen to be the enemy and they're insulting you in the worst ways possible? You see the difference? You see the difference? I'm trying to show you so people can stop crying, talking about racism when you haven't gotten into a root, you haven't gotten to it, you're not in a situation where there is racism, and if you're that type of person looking for it, you could be going and fighting real racism. Now you feel stupid because you hadn't been able to distinguish this until I said it. Oh, so everybody's going to just hold back on the N-word for the sake of you thinking they're racist. Some people were saying if I had a worse insult, I would send you that one too. That's what some people say. If I had a worse insult than that, I would say that too. And that's how you know it's really about insults. It's really about insulting you as worse as they possibly can. As opposed to you thinking it's a racist, being a simpleton, being a simp. Thinking it's racism and really you just a simp. Hey, listen, you're a novice in war. If I'm going to war with people, I'm gonna say the worst thing I can say. If you eat too much chicken, I'm gonna call you chicken eating people. I'm gonna say the worst. Listen, I'm gonna hit below the belt. Whatever you do, I'm gonna hit below the belt. I'm gonna say, stop eating that chicken. You eating too much chicken, they're gonna go extinct. You chicken eating bastards. That's an insult. That's an insult based on your particular culture and your particular people, right? Now, is that racism? No, it's not. It comes to a point where you have hit below the belt because of war. That's what it is. That's all it is. You know, and that's why I told you, I'm a real soldier. I've been around, and for people that think I'm a wannabe, I've been around Marines. I've been around real military people that have fought in real time, not the kind of generations you have now where they go to the military and they get a career and they get houses and everything like that. And they don't fight no wars. I'm not talking about them kind, and that's okay because they're trained too, to a degree. But it's a training that only the war can only bring. Real war brings a certain kind of training or experience, if you will. I've been around real men that have been in real time warfare, right? Living with them, right? Arguing with them, offering one of them to a fight. That's why you got the wrong. Well, listen, man, I've offered real military to fight men that have killed people already. Why you have petty people around me playing games, bro? I'm trying my best to stay in character of a Christian, right? And not let people get me out of character and make me show my butt. I don't want to rock up your boulevard. Rock up the whole boulevard, buddy. I'll make the whole boulevard feel it. Up and down this whole boulevard. I'll make the whole boulevard feel me. That part. I make the whole boulevard feel me, bro. You trying to be out here on the block, I'll make this whole boulevard feel me. That's what I'm saying. That's what kind of man I am. And I'm trying my best not to be like that. I'm trying my best not to get in the flesh and be like that, right? You got to understand, man, I have a baby face. That's what I've been blessed with. Black don't crack, as they say. But I'm 41 years old, bro. I'm not 21. I'm not 20. I don't fight the young men fight anymore. I've already got my respect. I went to Los Angeles when I was 20 years old. I already got respect off that. Me being from North Carolina, that's a night and day difference almost. Almost. I've already earned my stripes being around this country just from traveling, just for having the guts to go from North Carolina to California. Not what I did there when I got there. Not what I did when I got there. Right? Just having the courage as a 20-year-old kid to go from North Carolina to Los Angeles. I already got stripes for that. Whether you give it to me or not. Well, it's one thing to go from Los Angeles to North Carolina. It's one thing to go from North Carolina to Los Angeles. I mean, you probably can handle yourself pretty good if you're from Los Angeles going to North Carolina. You do pretty decent. People be glad to hear your stories, about how you're from Los Angeles. You probably get a lot of love, actually. But it was the other way around for me. I went from North Carolina to Los Angeles at 20 years old. Here I am 21 years later, bro. Listen, I don't play with kids. That's first thing first. Let's get the kids out the way. I don't play with kids. I'm not one. I don't play with kids, bro. Because I hand out a hell of a beating. I don't play with kids. That's first thing first that you got to understand about me, bro. I got a 15-year-old kid myself. My son is 15. What I look like playing with kids? And I got a 15-year-old kid that's almost a grown man. That's why I'm saying you know, it's a lot of racism going around, real racism. Well, you look at me and you think I'm a boy. You need to take a closer look. You need to listen to me a little closer. Yeah, a boy, a 20-year-old can't sound like this. Not on his best day, man. Not on his best day can a 21-year-old articulate themselves like me. I should be at this, I would like to think so. I should be at this level. I'm 20 years older than a 21-year-old. I should sound like this, but you think I'm too young because you're actually racist. You look at me as a boy. I'm 41 years old, bro. I'm 41 years old. That's what you got to understand. I'm not no puppy. I'm a fully grown dog over here. I'm a fully grown wolf. Ain't no puppy over here, bro. Ain't no puppy breath over here. I don't got no puppy breath over here, bro. Ain't no puppy breath over here. That's what you got to understand. I'm a fully grown man over here. Right? And that's what you need to understand first. Listen, don't play with me. I got a 15-year-old kid. You got that part? Do you got that part? I don't play with kids. I don't play with kids at all, bro. You should be able to listen the way I talk. I don't play with no kids. Right? Okay, so that none of that works with me. Now you see where I'm at. Well, he can't be no sex predator because he don't play with no kids. He made that clear. Yeah, I sound like a real man that don't play around no kids. If I don't play around you acting like no kid, it's not far-fetched to say he don't deal with kids pretty much. Yeah, see, they raise them right in North Carolina. I can't speak for New York. I can't speak for all these other places I've lived. But where I'm from, they raise men right. They raise men right. They raise us right. And I can see the difference between your men and us. Men from North Carolina are raised way better in the South than y'all are everywhere else in the country. Everywhere else. I ain't gonna pick on just New York. I ain't gonna pick on just wherever else you can think about. All of it. The South are the best men. We cook, we clean, we do what a man and a woman do. I cook, I clean, everything. I learned how to drive a car when I was 14. Just in case you think I'm some cripple that can't do nothing. Man, I was driving a car when I was 14 years old, bruh. What you talking about? Definitely can drive a car. I could drive a car right now tonight. Right today. Like I ain't missed a beat. Some things you never forget. Put your foot on the gas. If you're parking, put it in reverse. Take your feet slowly off the put your foot on the brake. Put your foot on the brake. Turn on the ignition. Put it in reverse. Take your feet slowly off the brake. Come out slowly. Turn slowly. Take it out of reverse. Put it in the drive. Boom, you're on your way. That's all you got to do. Parallel park, all you got to do is turn sharply. Turn the wheel sharply. Boom, you're on your way. That's all parallel parking is about. I ain't even from New York, and I already know that. Because I know how to maneuver a car. So that's all you got to do. Crank it up. Put your foot on the brake. Put it in reverse. Reverse out your parking lot. Out your driveway. Boom. I drive with one hand. I don't drive usually with two hands. I drive with one hand like most young people do. I drive with one hand. I like driving with one hand. But I was driving a car on my own at 14. I had my first job when I was 15. I started shooting guns around 15. Drove a car at 14. Started shooting guns as 15. This is not the good part, but I started selling crack when I was 16. You know what I'm saying? Selling weed in high school, pulled a weapon on somebody in high school, got thrown out of high school. Got my first official charge. I was about 14, 15. The first time I got locked up. 14, 15, got locked up. Then I went to adult jail when I was 16 for the first time. Was on probation. I had to already do the community service, did all of that. 16, 17. I've been through all of that, being on probation and everything. 16, 17-year-old kid on probation. I've been through it. Paying the money, going to see your PO. I've been through all of that. That's the real bad kids. That's the ones you don't play with. The ones that start out on probation, 16, 17 years old, you don't play with people like that. Okay? You a late bloomer. You just now doing crimes, what, in your 30s? Bro, I was done. I was done in my 30s. Real criminals and real thugs, whatever you want to call it, starts out young. I ain't never seen nobody start out as a thug in their 20s. Unless you was trying to make money only. Like you wasn't really no bona fide criminal or a bad guy. You just trying to make money. Now that's different. Okay, you might did a little something. Late 20s, seen an opportunity. You ain't really in the game. You ain't never really been inclined to do crimes or a bad kid per se. You never really was running around with the bad crowd or none of that. You never had any bad friends. You never did anything bad really. You just trying to get money. But see, they kind of mess up that situation too, because they come out thinking they bad and they thugs and all of that. And it's really just you trying to make a little dough, I guess. But a kid like I was, in elementary, I got caught with brass knuckles. It sounds like a legend of folklore, I know, a little bit. As a kid, I was in elementary, I got caught with brass knuckles. I could have killed a kid with brass knuckles. A kid hitting another kid with brass knuckles. I would have knocked his teeth out. Gave him a concussion. Could have killed him. In high school, I could have killed the guy with the pole. I had a pole. I took a pole that was an extension off a jack, like a car jack. I took the extension off that had a rubber grip, put it in my pants and took that to school, was going to hit some dude over the head with it. If I would have hit him over the head, he would have died from a brute hit to the head. I didn't know any better. That's what kind of kid I was. Remind you, I had already been shooting guns, the same year I started selling crack. That's what kind of kid I was. That's what I'm saying. And that's the difference between, that's all under 18. That's all before I was 18. That's real bad kids. That's a bad boy for real. Y'all late bloomers, mid-20s and stuff, you shouldn't have even never got into it. If you got into an 18 without doing any crimes, if you got to 18 without doing any crimes, right? Or getting locked up, you shouldn't even got into it. That's a young child's path. The devil comes at the bad kids at a young age. And we start smoking, drinking, doing crimes, selling drugs. I had cocaine when I was 16, selling drugs, man. That's the difference, man. So now you can't, I've evolved. See, if you start out young, you start an evolution young. That's evolution. Some people that start out good, they get bad at the end of their life. Some people that start out bad, they get good at the end of their life. That's how it is with me. I started out real bad, so I start contrasting as part of my evolution. My contrast was good. My contrast was good. Your contrast is bad because you was probably a good kid. So you contrast with bad. You get it? When I was a kid, I was selling drugs, shooting guns. So my contrast was good. The opposite of me was good, and I eventually evolved to that. That's why you have so many bad people in the world. I believe one of the reasons, because you really wasn't no bad kid. A lot of y'all these days, your parents had money, all this and that third. You know, you wasn't no bad kid, so your evolution became bad. You did everything that you didn't get to do in your childhood. I was having sex in my childhood. my grandmother was letting me bring a girl to the house. I was having sex in the house. I was like, I don't know. That's how I lived. That's why I trip when people try to question my childhood or question me and my sexuality. I'm like, man, my grandmother used to let me bring my girlfriend to the house. And I had sex with her. Yeah, we did. Not only did she come, we had sex. It's one thing for her to come and sleep over. It's another thing for her to come and y'all have sex. So all I'm saying is, that's my childhood. You know, that's where I come from. Then I changed I got my life together. I evolved because of my bad ways, my bad life, my evolution was what came. Some people come quicker. You need it to come quicker. You need to evolve quicker because you in danger because of how you live your life. You know what I'm saying? I was the type of person, I didn't think about the pain that I could inflict on somebody. I didn't care. I didn't think about how bad if you died, what the consequence would be for that. I didn't care about that. That's why I'm a different person. I didn't care about that. I didn't care about what you went through. If you died and your family mourned you, I didn't care nothing about that. That's why I know I'm a better person. That's why I don't let people play with me like that. I'm out here. You just don't have no idea. And I spent most of my years, most of my childhood in the ghetto. We moved out the ghetto when I was 17. 17. That's most of my whole childhood in the ghetto. Now, for my other people around me, they didn't live their whole life in the ghetto. Let's put it like this. They didn't live their whole life around crack addicts. In my neighborhood, Bradford Drive, it wasn't the worst neighborhood in the world, but it was because of the fact that cocaine and gunplay was there. It could be considered a low level ghetto. Just the fact that it's crack there, period. It's robbing, crack there. You know, most other neighborhoods come to that neighborhood. Most other ghettos come to that neighborhood. Okay, you're a ghetto. When you have a network of other ghettos coming to your ghetto, then you're a ghetto. Make sense? So other ghettos from other parts of the city is coming there. That's how you know you're ghetto. That's how you know you live in the ghetto. Now, if ain't no other ghetto neighborhoods coming to your ghetto, you're not a ghetto. You're going to be connected to a network of other ghettos for many reasons. But I moved out of that neighborhood when I was 17. But that was most of my childhood there, obviously. And that's the difference. So that's why if you try to go track how my path and you don't know that part, you're going to think, oh, this must have been a suburban kid. and you be with me particularly, you would be sadly mistaken. Because my family, my mama didn't know I was selling crack. That's one thing that my family didn't know. Like most of my family members did not know I was selling crack. I had a couple family members that knew I was selling crack. But my dad, my mom, nobody knew. You know what I'm saying? I was that type of kid as far as that goes. Now they knew I was smoking weed. You know, they didn't know I was shooting guns for fun. They didn't know I was doing that. You know, and usually kids like me, like I said, we evolve and we become better. Like I got my first, like I said, I got my first charge. I was like 14, 15, early 15. And I went to a juvenile detention, the detention center. And I remember I had a big fro and I had to clean my hair with some lice stuff. That's the first thing they make you do, clean your hair in North Carolina. They make you clean your hair with some kind of lice stuff. So I had a big fro, cleaning my hair with some lice stuff. And when you sit down in that cell as a kid, you already are now, I don't want to say shamed, but you're already accepted. You've already accepted the fact that society sees you as a bad person. That's why it don't hurt a bad kid, your opinion. It don't hurt a bad kid. Somebody that was a bad kid don't hurt me. Because by the time 14, 15, okay, I'm going to a detention center. I'm already accepting the fact, without it being the end of the world, that I'm locked up. I'm a bad kid. I'm already accepting that society sees me this way. So that's what people need to understand. Your insults ain't gonna hurt somebody like that. Because I was considered a bad person from a kid. As a kid, I was already seen that way. And you embrace it. You learn to embrace it. See, I was that type of kid. You late bloomers. You are late bloomers. I was a kid like that. Then, you know, I went to jail. I had to get on probation. I know what it felt like going back and forth to my probation officer, doing community service. Everybody know about community service. Did community service twice, going out to parks and cleaning up parks and working at some kind of food plant for my community service, working on this food belt as part of my community service. We was putting some kind of stuff in boxes and stuff, cookies or something, sorting them and putting them in boxes. But see, that was me as a teenager, in the height of my teenage years, 14, 15, 16, 17, 14, 15, 16. By the time I was 17, I used my birthday money. I wanted to use my birthday money to get a gun. I had a decent amount of money, but I didn't have enough. But I set out and went into the hood, went into the ghetto to go get me a gun for my 17th birthday. Yeah, that was my 17th birthday, or that was the money for it. That was the money that I was given on my 17th birthday. Yeah, that wasn't my 16th birthday. No, I don't think so. That was my 17th birthday. And whether it was, I'm pretty sure it was the 17th birthday, but whether it was the 16th or 17th, I'm pretty sure it was 17 though. And I set out to get a gun. And they had a shotgun or something, and I was like, nah, I ain't want that. I wanted a pistol. So I could have got a shotgun. I was like, nah, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of kid I was. Nobody can fake it that good, man. There's nobody out there going that far in fraudulent. You know what I'm saying? It's unheard of. And for people that just are skeptical of people's street reputation, thugs is really common. I'm just saying. It's something that's really common. It's only really super big to someone that is from the suburbs or something. It's only super big to them. And I'm not acting like I'm Al Capone or Al Pacino, neither one. But I can say by the time I was 14, 15, I was in a juvenile center, detention center. I already been locked up. I was conditioned already as this street kid, as this bad person. I was already conditioned. 16, locked up on my first charge doing community service. Yeah, that's going in that direction. Selling crack. Every kid doesn't sell crack, bro. I'm just saying. And like I said, I'm not trying to act like I'm Al Capone or something, but I know for a fact every kid does not sell crack cocaine. That's what I'm saying. Every kid does not have guns and shooting guns. Some of y'all kids, and it's good that they don't. It's good that they don't. But some of your kids have never shot guns, and that's great. I was not one of those kids. I was a kid that shot guns. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. Now, I'm not trying to make it no more than what it is. I'm trying to make it clear what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's enough right there. Whatever that right there is enough to let you know. Right there. That's all you need to know. But I've changed myself, right? I've changed myself to the point where now I'm about this God journey, right? I'm about this God journey. But now it makes sense why a person like me, I say all that to say, would hit below the belt. Being where I come from. Now you see what you're dealing with. Kid grew up shooting guns, selling crack, probation, community service, and you try and put him to the test. Oh yeah, he gonna hit below the belt probably. He probably gonna hit below the belt. You probably can expect that. And you shouldn't take it personal. The devil really thought he had me. That's what you gotta understand. I was a little kid, dark too. I was into the satanic kingdom. I was on Satan's side. I used to take the pentagram and the upside down star, draw it on a paper plate, put candles, black candles, burn them under my feet, just stuff I seen, didn't out of ignorance. But I had the upside down star on a plate under my bed, and I would pull it out every once in a while. That's what kind of kid I was. Satanic, but I didn't hate God. That's the funny thing about it. I had nothing in my heart against God. That's the very funny thing about it. I never got around anyone, thank God, I never got around anyone that made me take it to another level of hating God. I never hated God though. But I was satanic. I had the upside down star. I used to do, I didn't really know what I don't know. I did stuff as it came, as I felt, just little stuff like for the vibe, for the feeling, I guess you could say. But I talked about demons in my music. I talked about demons in my songs. That's what kind of kid I was, That's why for me to be on God's side, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. And that explains too why I don't think that because I dabbled around with the satanic a little bit, I don't think that that's why I'm more don't take no junk. I'm a soldier. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be like this. And I'm not going to say Satan defends me, but Satan had me when I was young. When I was 16, 15 and 16. That leaves impressions. That leaves impressions. I was 15 and 16. But it was all because I was a prophet. It was a struggle between good and evil for my life. And good won. Good won. And once I found good, I stayed with good. But yeah, that's what kind of kid I used to wear black all the time. All the time. I wore black so much that the teachers called my dad and told my dad I'm wearing black too much. That's how much I wore it. So yeah, I was pretty dark to the point where, like I said, I was putting pentagrams, I was drawing pentagrams on paper plates, a paper plate, and putting it under my bed with a black candle and playing around with that. And so I would say that's my testimony from where God brought me from and who I am today. And that's why, like, I'm not saying Satan fights for me, because I believe only God fights for me now. I'm not going to say he would have mercy on me. Satan would have mercy on me. But it was a place that I was at in my life where, like I said, I was doing those things with drawing the pentagram on the plate, the dark candles, the demon music, putting demon in my songs, and just starting this whole demon style of music. You know, and I'm not going to say the Satanic Kingdom fights for me. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. All I know is I'm on God's side now, and that's why it's so serious to me. See, so for some other people, that you ain't never been in any darkness, you ain't never sold drugs, you ain't never shot guns, you ain't never broken houses or nothing like that. You ain't never done no crazy stuff. Like, you know, you don't, you know, you can't. It's easy. You might take your Christianity for granted. You know what I'm saying? You take God for granted. You know what I'm saying? You don't take it seriously. You don't take it seriously like life and death. You don't take it like that. You take it like, oh, you know, I'm going to be a good Christian. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's politically correct. And see, people like me, I done been on both sides. It's already too late. That's why the Satanic Kingdom can't get me, because I've already been there. I started out young. I started out real young. You know what I'm saying? And so it's part, like I said, a part of an evolution of the person, the evolution of the soul. You know, you started out young doing that. Then now you get older, and it's like God is the contrast to that. You was into the satanic, the demon music, making demon music, upside down stars. And now you contrast in your evolution with the opposite, which is God. That's usually how it happens with most human beings. They don't know, and I need to do a video on that. They don't know that most likely whatever you start out with, you're going to contrast that later on in life. So if you start out more bad than good, then you're going to contrast that as you get older. If you start out bad, if you start out good, you're going to want to do all kind of other stuff when you get older, because that's the evolution of your soul. So you got to catch it. For all the good kids and good people, you got to keep it going, because if you don't, naturally speaking, your soul is going to contrast what you've been, and you're going to evolve into something else. Naturally speaking, that's what would happen. It's just human nature to contrast as far as the evolution of the soul. It's part of the human makeup. You know, if you was really a bad kid, ask most bad kids. They start serving the Lord, going to church. Think about it. Every person they come home from prison, first thing they do, say, yeah, I'm back in church, man. I'm back in church. They start going back to church. Yeah, you know, I've been in my word. You know, start talking spiritual and everything. That's the bad people. That's the bad kids. That's the bad people. You know, we evolve and we become good. That's why, now you see where I'm going with this. That's why most people are good. They start out good. The average person start out good. So it explains why now there's an evolution of the souls of the people and all of them becoming bad. Because most of them were not really bad people, right? In the beginning of their lives, most Americans, many of you are suburban, you didn't grow up selling any crack. You never seen crack. You know, you never shot any guns. You know, you never stood on the block in your life selling crack. You never seen a real crackhead with their teeth missing. But see, you were good, and now you starting to evolve in your soul naturally as far as your human nature that's going to contrast what you was first. And if you don't catch it, you're gonna be bad. And that's why it explains why half of the community is going crazy, because really most of these people were good people. And now they went through the evolution of the soul, and they're now contrasting, and they're becoming bad. That's a 7 hour. That's good. That's good information. But see, there are destinies. And my destiny is the prophet of God. That's what I am. That's what I am. You know? And the servant of God, the man of God, the worshiper, the faster, the man that's fasting before the Lord, that's my destiny. You know? It feels normal and natural. It feels good. It feels like home. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. It don't feel like I'm forcing it. It doesn't feel like that. It may feel like that to you. I don't know why, but for me, I don't feel like I'm forcing it. I feel like this is actually what I'm supposed to be doing, which would explain why I didn't really go into the music industry and all of that. I was supposed to be a prophet of God, and it could be very upsetting to people. I remember when I first changed my life, it was people. I would be around people my age. It was a person around my age in my family, and they was like, "Man, it hurt my feelings. Man, broke my heart." That I changed. It hurt. It broke their heart. It broke his heart. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's in my nature to rebel against what everybody else is. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone else wants to be cool, and I feel like I was cool enough, you know. And I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. It's just like I said, it's the evolution. Like if you were cool as a kid, you don't really try to be cool as an adult as much. Like I was cool as a kid, so I can let it go. I can be the old guy, and I'm not old yet. My girl always telling me, my lady always telling me I'm not old yet, but I can be the mature guy and be like content with that. I don't have to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess because I was already cool as a kid. Like, I did all the cool stuff. I drove cars when I was young. I smoked weed. I smoked a lot of weed. I played all the video games. I had video games. I had Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I had the first PlayStation. I mean, I was cool as a kid, you know. And so for me, you know, that's another evolution. And I'm gonna do a video about this. I already wrote it down. I already kind of talked about it. When you come to the end of being cool, you're good with you. You start to let it go. Like you don't have to try to be cool because you've already done it. So you can't go backwards in your journey because you're never going to be, in actuality, that cool kid that you were. Like, so now you can't keep trying to be the cool kid you once were. And I don't have that struggle. I've never had that struggle. And so it's like when you become a cool kid and you really become cool and that's a fact, then you you ultimately grow. And with that growth of being cool and growing and cool, you come to the end of that journey. And at the end of that journey, some people don't make it, they die. Because they don't know where else to go. They don't know what else to become. They don't know where to go from there. And it really is God. Because you come to the end, it's almost like a hippie's journey. You smoke weed, you partied, you've experimented, you've had wild sex, you've done it all, and now you realize that you've searched it all out. You've searched it all out. And some people do it with money, some people do it without money. And you come to the end of your cool journey, and now it's like, what's next? And so what people usually do on more than times than not, like famous people especially, they drank too much, they OD on drugs, and that's the end of their journey. When they came to the end of their cool journey, they decided to die. That's what happened. That's what happened. If you look at all these famous people which are esteemed as cool, follow me now. They go to the end of their journey as being cool, and they don't know where to go after that. So what do they do? They go back to the little kid that they once were, like the teenage cool kid smoking weed under the street lights. They're trying to capture it all again. And so they do the same drugs, they do the same partying, and they wind up overdosing because really it doesn't give the same satisfaction. You're not that kid anymore. And you finish your journey. Now you are a master if you want to be. You can be a master if you want to be, because you've searched out many things in life. You searched out many things. So now you can choose to come to God, because now you've searched out Your soul, you've received what it is to be appealing, to be cool. You've searched it out, and everyone has their personal journey with that. You know, some people, they get a lot of money being cool. Some people don't get a lot of money being cool. But they go into appeal, acceptance, being this unique character, right? And having this extra appeal than the average person, and you go through this journey, and once you come to a certain level of doing all the things, many things and different things, and then you go further and further, and then you go, like for my example, you go all around the country. You know, you've always thought about Los Angeles, you finally go there, you live there. You go to Seattle, you go, I live there. I go down to Florida, I live there. You know, I actually went to Martin Luther King Jr.'s house in Atlanta as a kid. I visited his house. Uh, it's set up as a museum, I guess you could say. And my grandmother took me to his house as a kid. So I've actually been in the same house as Martin Luther King Jr. You know, I've done a lot. And so when you've done that, you come to an end of being cool, and now you can come to God. And so some people may say, well, you could be doing this, but you don't realize how much that person has done. You don't realize that person's journey. And you gotta let them be, because what you think you're offering them, or what you think they're missing, they've already have experienced it in their own way. In their own way. They have already experienced everything that you think they're missing. You know? And you have to realize that, okay, this person is not new to this. This person is not new to life.